All right, so I'm going to do a little bit of Python programming here on AWS, and I'm going to share my screen here and get right into it. Yeah, there's a problem I've been cooking up lately that I thought was kind of a fun one to solve, which is how to actually get into synchronizing a directory on AWS. And here we have this project here, Assimilate AWS, that I've got my keys set up for. And if we go to code spaces, no, we go to secrets, we can see that I've got AWS set up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch a code space here. And let's just start coding in this particular repo. So let's grab a big one. There we go. And let's launch it. So this should take just a second to set up. And I guess one of the other things I could do if I'm going to be coding in this environment a lot is set up the pre-builds so that in the future, this environment will build a little bit faster. So that would have been a nice thing to do. There you go. So it's queued up and it's running. So this will take just a second to load up. And I also could go to AWS and we could go to S3. And one of the things I've been working on is how to actually synchronize a couple, maybe synchronize a local file system with S3 bucket based on some set of rules. And so that would be kind of a fun one to play around with. While this thing is spinning up here, what I can do is create a test bucket. Let's go ahead and create a test bucket in AWS. We'll go ahead and call this one programmatic. So all lowercase, so programmatic sync tests about this 11:21. Programmatic sync test. Let's do that one, and let's just create this bucket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to sync up with this bucket and see if I can figure out. See if I can figure out how to put things in here in kind of an intelligent way. For example, if I wanted to exclude certain files or something like that. And so what we can do once this thing spins up is I'm going to write some code that will, first of all, uses synchronization and then also has some kind of an exclusion rule. And I'm also going to build it into a command line tool. In fact, we could really easily build this tool, I think, in maybe like 10 minutes. So this will take just a second here to build up. I'll open up one more thing, which is I'm going to open up the Boto3 docs. So I got S3 ready to go. And here we go. So let's do this. And let's look at sync. This bucket, upload files, get objects. Well, I don't know which one to use yet, but we'll come back to this. Okay, so I'm in here. So we got this thing ready to go. And I'll make this a little bit bigger. Now the tool that I want to write will be something I'm going to use Copilot to help me out with. So we can see that, in fact, we've got, let's double check it's installed. There we go. Copilot is installed here. And I'm going to say sync.py. And then I'm going to go to this tool and I'm going to give it a little bit of a prompt here. I'm going to say build a sync tool. So build a intelligent AWS S3 sync tool. Perfect. And we can go here. User bin env Python. There we go. And now let me even put some rules about what I'd like it to do. Is I'm going to make a test directory here. So we'll say like tests. We'll call this test syncer, and then I'll put maybe a subdirectory in there. So make sure test syncer one, and we'll create two, and then we'll also create like maybe like some garbage that I don't like. Let's say I don't want to. I only want to. I only want to. Maybe everything that's at the top level I don't want to copy, right? So if I just say, um, food.txt. So let's say I only want to copy subdirectories. How would I do this? So we'll put this in here. We'll say only copy the subdirectories. Nothing at the root level, like a file. And so I'm gonna, and then sync the subdirectories. Let's try it. So let's see what it gives me. So if I just say import photo3, and we can also build this into a command line tool. We'll say build into a CLI tool. There we go. Import click. So let's just build a function first. So we'll say build a function that syncs the files. So we'll say bucket path, and we're going to say by default, no, we don't need a default. So sync the files to the bucket. So it's going to say for object in buckets, print keys, but we want to sync files for object in buckets. Okay, let's try that. Build a CLI tool. So we're going to do click group, and we'll say this, sync the files to the bucket, and we'll just say sync. Okay. Here's the name of the bucket. The default, though, is going to be the one I created, which is this one. So I'm going to make it lazy. Now, it would be nice to. Well, I could start with this, right? We could start with this, which is build this, and we'll say bucket and path, and the path would be test syncer. There we go. And there you go. So this isn't exactly what I wanted, but it's close. And then we'll just chmod it. Let's do that. We'll say sync. Oh, so we have to do a make install. Maybe I didn't install Boto3 already. Let's look at the requirements. Yeah, we see Boto3 there. So this should basically look inside of the bucket, but this is not doing what I want it to do, because it's not going to copy things in there. That syncs the files locally with the files in the bucket. So let's kind of reprompt this thing to build it. And so filter, we don't need a prefix either. So I'm going to get rid of the prefix. Local directory. And so we're going to say for object and buckets, last modified, try. upload file, get the last modified, get the modified time of this file in the local directory. So it's basically going to check to see if the local files are newer than the ones in the bucket. So this is reasonable, I think. And we can just say, change this. Now it needs to be fixed. There we go. Now, one thing I like to do too is, do this, do make refactor. So make refactor. And unused variable OS, unused. So we don't need OS. Whoa. Line 23. Oh, we need to import OS. Import OS. And we need to do local dir. Local dir. Buckets. Path in bucket. Sync. Local dir is equal to path. We say bucket is equal to bucket. Path bucket. Try that. Line 14. Build a local dir. Yeah, this is not what I want actually. Again, kind of wacky. It didn't really give me the code. How about this? Let's start again, and we'll just say build a function that copies files to an S3 bucket from a folder. Local directory. How about that? Let's just keep it bucket S3 directory. S3 directory. Why do we need S3 directory? We don't need that. os.path. os.join. Yeah, this is definitely not exactly what I want. So, I mean, this is kind of an interesting thing to play around with when you're experimenting with how to sync things up here. Is, do you even just start over again? And so let's even change everything. Let's just say, let's keep it simpler. And let's just say build a simple S3 copy, S3 directory copy. Cool. Okay. Let's keep it real simple. Here's the client, the resource, and we can say get bucket. And let's see what it comes up with here. Get objects. Get S3 objects. Yeah, too much code. So one of the things I can change as well is if I go to extensions here, I'm going to disable this. I'm going to uninstall this, and I'm going to try to do the Copilot nightly. Maybe the nightly one got some better fixes here. And let's actually go here and copy extension to this repo status. And add a bunch of stuff here. Adding code. All right, so far we've had lots of failures. So I'm going to need to be better at prompting it. So I'm just going to import Boto 3. And I'm going to say import click. And I'm going to say build a function that copies files from a directory to S3. Let's just keep it really simple. Bucket directory. That's exactly what we want. And so bucket printed S3. In the copy operation, it's just printing things out here. Copy to S3, copy files, print objects. No, I think we need to say we need to look at the documentation here. I think that's the copy objects. In fact, I'm even going to do this. I'm going to say Python S3 sync folder. Let's just see what we got. Stack Overflow. Let's use all the tools. Blah, blah, blah. No. To a local directory in Python. Let's look at this one. I guess it's true. You could just do, maybe this is the way to go. I guess there's no sync in Boto 3. Well, this could be, because I've definitely done that. I think this could be the solution, which is I was trying too hard, which is that I can just say import some process, sync a directory. So let's say sync a directory to S3 using subprocess. There we go. Now we've changed the game here because we're going to totally change how we do this. So we're going to say build a function to sync a directory using subprocess and AWS sync. There we go. We have source buckets. I don't need profile. There we go. All right, subprocess.run. Well, that was easy. And then we can build click. So we can say add click.group syncs we pass it. And we can say command sync here. And we can do argument bucket. There we go. This looks a lot better. Now let's leave so we'll say the default is going to be the test syncer, and then the bucket will be this one, programmatic sync test. So sometimes the best answer is to do something totally different. And invoke this. There we go. So let's chmod this and add a shebang line. Oh, it's got one. Okay, so let's say sync. There we go. So we say sync. Invalid argument. Oh, because it's going to need the URI. And so I just need to go to, I always forget how to get this. This is the URI to objects, buckets. It is management metrics, permissions, access points. Why am I missing how to get this URI here? So Properties. There we go. Property. Yeah. So I think it would be something like this. I think it would just be. I think it would be this. S3 sync. And we could just do this. S3. Try that. Oh, that was easy. There we go. Finally got it working. Object. Now, it didn't recursively sync, though, because if we go back here, 1, 2, sync a directory. So if we type in AWS S3 sync help, help, we should AWS S3 sync recursive. There's got to be like a recursive option. Oh, or maybe it's not copying because there's nothing in those directories. So I think it is working properly, but that's good enough for today. So let's say make lints, everything work using subprocess, what not without run check. Well, we can fix that later. That's good enough. And we have I can fix this in the future and make it a little bit fancier. Main sync. All right, that's a good task for today. See you in a couple weeks.